Okay, can you see now on YouTube?
Not yet. think it's starting.
Yeah, it's starting.
Yeah, you're good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Can you put everybody on mute except you and Aruna?
Yes.
Om Namo Bhagavate Shri Ramanaya. Thanks for waiting, those on YouTube Live. We had some technical issues that has been resolved. You probably were not able to watch the video of all the school children that were singing Aksharamanamala. There were literally thousands of children singing Aksharamanamala and Arunachala Pancharatnam from all the schools at all levels in Trichy. They were trained by Professor Natarajan, who is our Satsang member, Lalita Ananta Krishnan, her father. And he and his dedicated friends and devotees have taught these children Upadesa Undiyar, Arunachala Aksharamanamala, and they run annual competitions where these children are given prizes for just present, showing up and chanting. So we'll put that video at the end of the live stream so that you can watch that. It was really thrilling. So this Sharanagati, which is a theme-based satsang, which we have been celebrating in Connecticut and New Jersey for the past 14 years. And the theme this year is Surrender Chummair. I'll start off with the 5th paragraph of Arunachala Pancharatnam, which kind of cinches surrender. He who dedicates his mind to thee and seeing thee always beholds the universe as thy figure. He who at all times glorifies thee and loves thee as none other than the self, he is the master without rival, being one with thee, O Arunachala, and lost in thy bliss. Unnidathil oppuvitta ullathal eppozhudum உன்னை கண்டெல்லாமும் முன்னுருவாய் அந்நியமில் அன்பு செய்யும் அன்னோன் அருணாச்சலா வெல்கும் என்புருவாம் முன்னிலாழ்ந்தே. So I will announce the program right now. So the first will be Aksharamanamala, chanting from Ramanashramam will be played. And we have 2 invited speakers for this program today because of the virus and the difficult situations. We have luckily been able to make this event transcend geographic boundaries and time. Michael James from UK, he's now in Scotland, he will join us. And Dr. Sharada Natarajan will join us from Bangalore in the second half of the program. And we have some singers from India, and Sharanagati will be offered in the end by Srimati Sushila Ramanan. So Ananta, let's play Aksharamanamala.
Yeah.
Sarunarunamani kiranavali nigat Sarumaksharamana magilmalai
Terunadiya tiruvadiya terumaral kediya paravudal porulaga
Karunagara muni ramanariyanu vagaina soliyadu gadiyaga
Arunachalamena agame arivodum ஆழ்வார் சிவ இவனுலகாழ்வாரே. அருணாச்சலபரக்கேக அக்ஷரமணமாலை சாற்ற கருணாகர கணபதியே கரமருளி காப்பாயே. அருணாச்சல சிவ அருணாச்சல சிவ அருணாச்சல சிவ அருணாச்சலா.
அருணாச்சல சிவ அருணாச்சல சிவ அருணாச்சல சிவ அருணாச்சலா.
அருணாச்சலம் என அகமே நினைப்பவர் அகத்தை வேறறுப்பாய் அருணாச்சலா.
அழகு சுந்தரம் போல் அகமும் நீயும் பிரவீணமாயிருப்போம் அருணாச்சலா.
அகம்புகுந்தீர்த்துன் அககுகை சிறையாய் அமர்வித்ததன் கொல் அருணாச்சலா.
ஆரேற்காயனை ஆண்டனை அகற்றிடு அகிலம் பழித்திடும் அருணாச்சலா.
இப்பழித புனையே நினைப்பித்தாய் இனியார் விடுவார் அருணாச்சலா.
ஈன்றிடும் அன்னையிற் பெரிதருள் புரிவோய் இதுவோ உனதருள் அருணாச்சலா.
உனையே மாற்றி ஓடாதுளத்தின் மேல் உறுதியாயிருப்பாய் அருணாச்சலா.
ஊசோற்றுளம் விடாதுனை கண்டடங்கிட உன்னழகை காட்டருணாச்சலா.
என்னை அழித்தே போதென்னை கலவாவிடில் இதுவோ ஆண்மை அருணாச்சலா.
ஏன் இந்த உறக்கம் என்னை பிறரிழுக்க இது உனக்கழகோ அருணாச்சலா.
ஐம்புல கள்வர் அகத்தினில் புகும்போது அகத்தில் நீலையோ அருணாச்சலா.
ஒருவனாம் உன்னை ஒளித்தவர் வருவார் உன் சோதேகிது அருணாச்சலா.
ஓங்கார பொருளோ உயர்வில்லோய் புனையார் அறிவார் அருணாச்சலா.
ஔவை போலெனக்குன் அருளை தந்தனை ஆளுவதும் கடன் அருணாச்சலா.
கண்ணுக்கு கண்ணாய் கண்ணின்றி காணுனை காணுவதெவர் பார் அருணாச்சலா.
காந்தமிரும்பு கோத்தவந்தனை விடாமல் கலந்தனோடிருப்பாய் அருணாச்சலா.
கிரி உருவாகிய கிருபை கடலே கிருபை கூர்ந்தருளுவாய் அருணாச்சலா.
கீழ்மேலெங்கும் கிளரொளி மணியன் கீழ்மையை பாஷை அருணாச்சலா.
குற்றமுற்கருத்தனை குணமாய் பணித்தாள் குரு உருவாய் ஒளிர் அருணாச்சலா.
கூர்வாட்கண்ணிய கொடுமையில் படாதருள் கூர்ந்தனை சேர்ந்தருள் அருணாச்சலா.
கெஞ்சியும் வஞ்சியாய் கொஞ்சமும் இறங்கில்லை அஞ்சலன்றே அருள் அருணாச்சலா.
கேளாதளிக்கும் கேடில் புகழை கேடு செய்யாதருள் அருணாச்சலா.
கையில் கனியும் மெய்ரசம் கொண்டு வகை வெறி கொளவருள் அருணாச்சலா.
கொடியேற்றடியரை கொல்லுரை கட்டி கொண்டங்கள் வாழ்வேன் அருணாச்சலா.
கோபமில் குணத்தோய் கொள குறையன் செய்தேன் அருணாச்சலா.
கௌதமர் போற்றும் கருணை மாமலையே கடை கணித்தாழ்வாய் அருணாச்சலா.
சகலமும் விழுங்கும் கதிரொளியின மன ஜல ஜமல தீரருணாச்சலா.
சாப்பாடுன்னை சாந்துணவாயான் சாந்தமாய் போவன் அருணாச்சலா.
சித்தம் குளிர கதிரத்தம்மை தமுத வகை திரவருள் மதி அருணாச்சலா.
சீரையழித்து நிர்வாணமாய் செய்தருள் சீரையழிதருள் அருணாச்சலா.
சுகக்கடல் பொங்க சொல்லுணர்வடங்க சும்மா பொருந்திடங்க அருணாச்சலா.
தூது செய்தென்னை சோதியாதினி உன் ஜோதி ஒரு காட்டருணாச்சலா.
செப்படி வித்தை கற்றிப்படி மயக்கு விட்டுருப்படு வித்தை காட்டருணாச்சலா.
தேராயனிமை நீராயுருகி கண்ணீராட்டடிவேன் அருணாச்சலா.
செய்யன தள்ளில் செய்வினை சுடுமலால் புய்வகையே துரை அருணாச்சலா.
சொல்லாது சொல்லி நீ சொல்லரனில் என்று சும்மா இருந்தாய் அருணாச்சலா.
சோம்பியாய் சும்மா சுகமுண்டுறங்கிடில் சொல்வேரெங்கதி அருணாச்சலா.
சௌரியம் காட்டினை சழக்கற்றதென்றே சலியாதிருந்தாய் அருணாச்சலா.
யமலியில் கேடா நான் என்னுருதிய நாடி நின்னுருவே அருணாச்சலா.
ஞானமில்லாதும் ஆசையற்றளவத ஞானம் தெரித்தருள் அருணாச்சலா.
இமிரு பொனியும் மலர்நிலை என்றே நேனென்றனையன் அருணாச்சலா.
தத்துவம் தெரியாத தன்னையூற்றாய் தத்துவமிதுவென் அருணாச்சலா.
தானே தானே தத்துவமிதனை தானே காட்டுவாய் அருணாச்சலா.
திரும்பிய கந்தனை தினமக கண்கான் தெரியுமென்றனையன் அருணாச்சலா.
தீரமிலகத்தில் தேடி உன்றனையான் திரும்ப உற்றேன் அருள் அருணாச்சலா.
பிறப்பெண் பயன் ஒப்பிடவாயே அருணாச்சலா.
தூய் மனர் மொழிய தோயும் உண்மையகம் தோயவே அருளன் அருணாச்சலா.
தெய்வமென்றுன்னை சாரவே என்னை சேர ஒழிதாய் அருணாச்சலா.
தேடாதோற்றனல் திருவருள் நிதியகத்தியக்கம் தீர்த்தருள் அருணாச்சலா.
தைரியமோடு முன்மையகனாடையான் தட்டழிந்தேன் அருள் அருணாச்சலா.
தொட்டருள் கைமை கட்டிடாய நிதியம் நட்டமாவேன் அருள் அருணாச்சலா.
தோடமில் நீயது தோடொன்றி என்று சந்தோடமொன்றிடவருள் அருணாச்சலா.
நகைக்கிடமிலை நின் நாடிய என்னை அருள் நகையிட்டு பாணி அருணாச்சலா.
நானிலை நாடிட நானாயொன்றி தானுபரின்றனை அருணாச்சலா.
அருணாச்சலா.
நீனானர புலி நிதகடிமயமா நின்றிடும் நிலையருள் அருணாச்சலா.
நுண்ணொரு புனையான் விண்ணொரு நன்னிட எண்ணலையிருமென்றருணாச்சலா.
நூலறிவறியா பேழையனென்றன் மாலறிவருதருள் அருணாச்சலா.
நெக்கு நெக்குருகியான் புக்கிட உனை புகழ்நற்கன நின்றனை அருணாச்சலா.
நேசமில் எனக்குன் ஆசையை காட்டி நீ மோசம் செய்யாதருள் அருணாச்சலா.
நைந்தழிகனியால் நலநிலை பதத்தில் நாடி உட்கொள் நலம் அருணாச்சலா.
நுந்திடாதுந்தனை தந்தனை கொண்டிலை அந்தக நீ எனக்கு அருணாச்சலா.
நோக்கிய கருதிமை தாக்கிய பக்குவமாக்கி நீயாண்டருள் அருணாச்சலா.
பற்றிமால் விடந்தலை போற்றிடு முனமருள் பற்றிட அருள் புரி அருணாச்சலா.
பார்த்தருள் மாலர பாட்டிலையனின் அருள் பாருணக்கார் சொல்வர் அருணாச்சலா.
பிரித்து விட்டுனை நேர்பித்தனாகினை அருள் பீத்தம் தெளி மருந்தருணாச்சலா.
வீதியில் உன்னை சார் வீதியில் என்னை சேர் வீதி உந்தனக்கே அருணாச்சலா.
புல்லறிவேதுரை நல்லறிவேதுரை புல்லிடவே அருள் அருணாச்சலா.
பூமண மாமணம் பூரண மணங்கொள பூரண மணமருள் அருணாச்சலா.
பெயர் நினைத்திடவே பிடித்திழுத்தனையும் பெருமையார் அறிவார் அருணாச்சலா.
பேய்த்தனம் விட விடா பேயார் பிடித்தனை பேயனக்கினையன் அருணாச்சலா.
ஐங்கொடியானான் பற்றின்றி வாடாமல் பற்று கொடாய்க்கா அருணாச்சலா.
பொடியால் மயக்கியன் போதத்தை பறித்து உன் போதத்தை காட்டினை அருணாச்சலா.
போக்கும் வரவுமில் பொதுவெளி நிலருள் போராட்டம் காட்டருணாச்சலா.
பௌதிக மாமுழல் பற்று நாடு முன் பவிசு கண்டுரவருள் அருணாச்சலா.
மலை மருந்திட நீ மலைத்திடவோ அருள் மலை மருந்தாயோடி அருணாச்சலா.
மானம் கொண்டொருபவன் மானத்தை அழித்த விமானமில்லாதொளே அருணாச்சலா.
மிஞ்சிடில் கெஞ்சிடும் கொஞ்ச அறிவனியான் வஞ்சியாதருளனே அருணாச்சலா.
மீகாமல் இல்லாமல் மாகாட்கலைகலம் ஆகாமல் காத்தருள் அருணாச்சலா.
முடியடி காணா முடிவிடுதனை முடிவிட கடனிலை அருணாச்சலா.
மூக்கிலன் முன்காட்டு முகுரமகாதனை தூக்கியனை அருள் அருணாச்சலா.
மெய்யகத்தின் மனமென் மலரணையில் நாம் மெய்கலந்திடவருள் அருணாச்சலா.
மேன்மேல் தாழ்ந்திடும் மெல்லிய சேர்ந்து நீ மேன்மையுற்றனையன் அருணாச்சலா.
மைமய நீ தருண்மையினால் உனது உண்மை வசமாகினை அருணாச்சலா.
மொட்டையடித்தனை வெட்ட வெளியில் நீ நட்டமாடினையன் அருணாச்சலா.
மோகம் தவிர்த்து உன் மோகமாய் வைத்துமென் மோகம் வீராயன் அருணாச்சலா
மௌனியை கற்போல் மலராதிருந்தால் மௌனமிதாமோ அருணாச்சலா
எவனின் வாயில் மண்ணினையட்டி என் பிழை பொழித அருணாச்சலா
யாரும் அறியாதன் மதியினை மருட்டி எவர் கொலை கொண்ட அருணாச்சலா
ரமணன் என்றுரைத்தேன் ரோஷம் கொள்ளாதனை ரமித்திடச் செய்யவா அருணாச்சலா
ராப்பகலில்லா பெருவெளி வீட்டில் ரமித்திடுவோம் அருணாச்சலா
லட்சியம் வைத்தருணஸ்திரம் வீட்டனை பட்சித்தாய் பிராணனோடு அருணாச்சலா
லாபமீக பர லாபமில் எனையுற்று லாபமெனோற்றனை அருணாச்சலா
வரும்படி சொல்லிலை வந்தபடி அழ வருந்திடும் தலைவிதி அருணாச்சலா
வாவென்றகம்புக்குன் வாழ்வருளன்றே என் வாழ்விழந்தேன் அருள் அருணாச்சலா
வேட்டிடி கட்டமாம் விட்டிடாதுனை உயிர் பேட்டிட அருள் புரி அருணாச்சலா
வீடு விட்டேத்துள்ள வீடுபுக்கு பைய உன் வீடு காட்டினை அருள் அருணாச்சலா
வெளி விட்டேனும் செயல் பெருத்திடாதும் அருள் வெளி வீட்டனை அருணாச்சலா
வேதாந்தத்தே வேரற விளங்கும் வேத பொருள் அருள் அருணாச்சலா
வைதனை வாழ்த்தா வைதருள் குடியார் வைதனை விடாதருள் அருணாச்சலா
அம்புவிலாலி போல் அன்புருவு நிலை அன்பார் கரை தருள் அருணாச்சலா
அருண என்றென்னையான் அருள் கண்டிப்பட்டேனும் அருள் வலை தப்புமோ அருணாச்சலா
சிந்தி தருள் பட சிலந்தி போல் கட்டி சிறையீட்டுண்டனை அருணாச்சலா
அன்போடு நாம் அங்கே அன்பரும் அன்பர் கண்பனாயிடவருள் அருணாச்சலா
என்போலும் தீனரை இன்புற காத்து நீ எந்நாளும் வாழ்ந்தருள் அருணாச்சலா
என்பொரு கண்பதம் என் சொற்கள் செவியும் என் பொன்மொழி கொளவருள் அருணாச்சலா
பொறுமயம்பூதர புன் சொல்லை நன் சொல்ல பொறுத்தருளே கம்மின் அருணாச்சலா
மாலையளி தருணாச்சல ரமணய மாலையணிந்தருள் அருணாச்சலா
மாலையடி கருணாச்சல ரமணயன் மாலையணிந்தருள் அருணாச்சலா அருணாச்சல சிவ அருணாச்சல சிவ அருணாச்சல சிவ அருணாச்சலா அருணாச்சல சிவ அருணாச்சல சிவ அருணாச்சல சிவ அருணாச்சலா அருணாச்சலம் வாழி அன்பர்களும் வாழி அச்சரவணமாலை வாழி.
And you can start.
Om Namo Bhagavate Shri Ramanaya. Dear brothers and sisters in Sri Bhagavan, today I'm privileged to introduce Sri Michael James. To use his own words, I will introduce to you Michael James, the person, not his reality or real me, which is the absolute reality for him and for all of us. He first came to Sri Bhagavan in 1976. After that, to use a term many old devotees of Bhagavan use, Bhagavan avarai saaftitar. For 8.5 years, he was associated physically with Sri Sadhu Om till the Swamiji's physical demise in March of 1985. Michael G learned Tamil language to learn the original text of Sri Bhagavan. Chris Quilke, the editor of Mountain Path, recounts how the meticulous transliteration of the magnum opus, the work of Sri Muruganar, Guruvacha Kovai, took place. Sri Michael James and Sri Sadhu Om would take each word of the text, debate about it for hours, and finally decide and choose the correct word for the transliteration of the Tamil to English. The world owes them an everlasting gratitude for this work, which has authentically saved the text and the true representation of Sri Bhagavan's teachings in posterity for the non-Tamil speaking devotees, and if I may add so, for most Tamil speaking devotees. The world first came to know about Sri Michael James' scholarliness from his Mountain Path article in the issue in 1982, titled Power of Arunachala. This 10-page article succinctly synthesizes every important fact a sadhak should know about holy Arunachala. Michael James is the author of important books only on Sri Bhagavan's teachings, especially Happiness and the Art of Being. One can spend months on Michael G's website, Happiness of Being, educating oneself about the practice of Atma Vichara. Today, I pray that we all take inspiration and follow Michael G's wholehearted and single-minded devotion to Sri Bhagavan and to the practice of his teachings. Today, Michael G.
Thank you. Sorry, before I start talking, could you give me record permission so that I can record on my side? Ananta, are you able to give me record permission?
You don't have the permission. I thought I gave it to you.
No, I don't seem to have it. When I click on record, it says, please request recording permission.
Okay. I just don't see the option in the live streaming mode. Let me go to another mode. Okay, I'm recording this on my computer and I will send it to you after the event in the interest of time. I just Michael, are you there? We lost Michael. Aruna? Aruna, are you there? We lost Michael.
Yeah, I will read something.
Yeah.
Till Michael joins. Natesha Iyer moved from Chidambaram to Tiruvannamalai and found employment as a cook at the ashram. Though Iyer has not left any account of his stay and work with the Maharshi, David Godman has collected information from devotees who knew him well. When Natesha Iyer felt an urge to renounce the world, he left his wife and daughter to come to Tiruvannamalai, where he came under Bhagavan's spell. When he started his job in the kitchen, most of the cooking was done by a group of Brahmin widows who made him work very hard. Once he said laughingly that he ran away from one bossy woman and ended up working under 5. At one point, when he got tired of the way he was being treated in the kitchen, he resolved to leave the ashram without telling anyone. On the way back to his home, he reached Viluppuram, about 40 miles from Tiruvannamalai. There, he put vibhuti on his forehead after the bath, closed the eyes, and as he was saying a prayer to Bhagavan, he felt Bhagavan himself standing in front of him. "How did you get here?" asked Iyer in amazement. Bhagavan smiled and replied, "How far have you gone away from me?" Iyer dissolved in tears and was unable to reply. The figure of Bhagavan began to walk towards Tiruvannamalai. Iyer had no hesitation in following him. The figure eventually disappeared, but Iyer felt that Bhagavan was always ahead of him, and he reached the ashram. When he entered the hall and prostrated, Bhagavan repeated the words, "How far have you gone away from me?" Iyer broke down and cried. He went back to the kitchen and resumed his work. This incident initiated a process of surrender in Iyer that culminated in the understanding that Bhagavan was not the body that everyone saw moving about the ashram. He once said, "Bhagavan is not something or someone we can fathom with our minds. We have to admit our ignorance and our inability to say anything about him that is true. I cannot tell anything about Bhagavan because the real Bhagavan cannot be explained in words. It is a sweet taste that you can only know by tasting it yourself."
Yep,
Has
we got
Michael
Michael back.
Okay, so I'll stop at this.
Yes.
Michael,
Sorry about that.
I have some issues in allowing you to record. I think something happened during the start of the meeting,
Okay,
but I
no,
have
not a problem. Not a problem. I think I should. Afterwards, I'll be able to download the live stream if it remains there.
It will be there. Sorry about
So,
that.
okay, no, not a problem. Not a problem. All happens according to Bhagavan's will.
Yes.
And have you put me on Spotlight, because that will also ensure that the
You are on
the
Spotlight.
stream, because I've got this unstable connection. Okay, good.
You are on Spotlight.
Okay. So sorry for the delay. At the beginning of today's meeting, Aruna recited verse 5 of Arunacha Pancharatnam. In that, Bhagavan uses a very beautiful and deeply meaningful term, Anyamil Ambu. That means love without another. That is a beautiful description of the love that Bhagavan has for us. In Bhagavan's view, we are not other than him. For, as he said in the first sentence of the 7th paragraph of Nana, Yatatamai Uludu Atma Sarupam Andre. So that is Bhagavan's experience. In his experience, what actually exists is only Atma Swarupa. And Bhagavan obviously is nothing but Atma Swarupa. So in his view, there are no others. He doesn't see any of us as other than himself. That is why his love is so all-embracing. He loves each one of us as himself. And this Anyamil Ambu, this is the key to a true surrender. Only to the extent that we learn to love Bhagavan as our own self, will we be willing to give ourselves to him. But even as ego, we can never truly have Anyamil Ambu, because the nature of ego is always to see others. But to the extent that we lose ourselves in the Anyamil Ambu, the otherless love that Bhagavan has for us, to that extent will we truly love him as ourselves, and will we be truly willing to give ourselves entirely to him. So these words are so deeply meaningful, and this is the key to self-surrender. It's the key to the whole of Bhagavan's teachings, because Bhagavan's teachings ultimately are about nothing other than giving ourselves entirely to him, complete surrender. That is what Bhagavan's path is all about. Today, the subject that we're for today's meeting is surrender and Summa Irupadu. Summa Irupadu means just being. Surrender and Summa Irupadu are one and the same thing, because Summa Irupadu means the state so long as we rise as ego, we are not in a state of just being. We're in a state of, we're always in a state of just being, but we seem to be, when we rise as ego, we seem to be rising. And therefore, everything else comes into existence. So the state of Summa Irupadu is the state in which we don't rise as ego. This is very clearly implied by Bhagavan in 4 sentences towards the end of the 6th paragraph of Nana. In the first one, he defines what is Sarupam. Sarupam means our real nature. But what is Sarupam? Bhagavan says, Nanenum nenevu kinjitum ila idame sarupamahum. Nanam enum nenevu means the thought called I, that is ego. Kinjitum ila idame, the place where this thought called I doesn't exist, even to a slightest extent. Here Bhagavan is using idam in a place in a metaphorical sense, obviously, it's not literally a place. So the place in which the thought called I, or ego, doesn't exist to the slightest extent, that alone is Sarupam, is our real nature. Then in the next sentence he says, Aduve monam enapadum, that alone is called Mona. So Mona is another name for our real nature, a state in which we do not rise to the slightest extent as ego. That is Mona, that is our real nature. And then in the next sentence he says, Ivaru Summa Irupadu Kutan Jnana Drishti Endrupaya. That is the name Jnana Drishti. Jnana Drishti means awareness seeing or knowledge seeing, that the experience of true knowledge. That name refers only to thus being still, thus just being, Summa Irupadu. And then in the fourth of the last of these 4 sentences, Bhagavan describes what is Summa Irupadu. Summa Irupadavadu manate atma sarupatil leka sevade. That means what just being or summa iruptu is only making the mind dissolve or subside or cease or die in Atmasvarupa. So that state, summa iruptu, is that state in which ego dissolves back into its source, dissolves back into our real nature, and doesn't rise again. That is the state of summa iruptu. That is also the state of true surrender. So how to surrender ourselves to Bhagavan? Obviously, the key, as I said earlier, the key is love. Only to the extent that we love Bhagavan will we be willing to give ourselves to him. How in practice we can give ourselves to Bhagavan, he explains very clearly in the first sentence of the 13th paragraph of Nana. Anma chintane tabira, vera chintane kalambavadaku, satram idum kodamal, atmanishta paranai irupde, tane isanuku alipadam. What that means is, Anma chintane tabira, vera chintane kalambavadaku, satram idum kodamal, without giving even the slightest room to the rising of any thought other than Atma Chintana. Atma Chintana literally means thought of oneself, but it means self-attentiveness. It implies self-attentiveness. So without giving even the slightest room to rising any thought other than self-attentiveness, Atmanishta Paranai Irupte, just being as Atmanishta Paran. Atmanishta Paran means one who's firmly established as oneself. That alone is Tanne Isanaku Alipadam. That alone is giving oneself to God. God obviously means Bhagavan, because as he said in the previous sentence, God and Guru are not different. And so for us, Bhagavan is God. So how to give ourselves to Bhagavan? To fix our attention so firmly on ourselves that we give no room to the rising of any other thought. That is giving ourselves to Bhagavan. That is true surrender. So though Bhagavan often used to say there are two paths, either you investigate yourself or surrender yourself, actually they are one and the same path. They're two different ways of viewing the same path. We can surrender ourselves, we can surrender our desires and attachments, our likes and our dislikes and so on, to a certain extent by means of devotion to God as another. That is, the more we love God, the less we will have, less strong our desires and attachments will become. But we cannot give up all our desires and attachments without giving up their root. And the root of all desires and attachments is obviously ourself as ego, because only when we have ego do we have desires, attachments, likes, dislikes, hopes, fears, and so on. In sleep, when we don't rise as ego, we have no desire for anything, no fears of anything. So it's only when we rise as ego, desire and attachment of the very nature of ego. So in order to give up all desire and attachment, we need to give up the one who has desire and attachment. That is ourself, this ego. So but surrender can be complete only by giving up ego. And in order to give up ego, Bhagavan has revealed to us what the nature of ego is. As he said in verse 25 of Uludunapadu, Urupatri undam, Urupatri nikum, Urupatri undu mika ongum. Urupatri literally means grasping form. But since he describes ego as Uruvatra Peyahande in that verse, Urupatra Peyahande means the formless phantom ego. So, but ego itself is formless, but it comes into existence only by grasping forms. Obviously, the first form it grasps is a body, which it takes itself to be. So ego is always aware of itself as I am this body. And then through the five senses it grasps other forms. So here, forms means anything other than ego. That's all phenomena are forms. So it's by being aware of phenomena, being aware of things other than ourselves, but we come into existence as ego, but we stand as ego. and by grasping and feeding on forms, ego flourishes. But that is one side of the nature of ego. Ego comes into existence by, in other words, by being aware of things other than itself. Ego is sustained by being aware of things other than itself. But he says, uruvittu urupatram, leaving one form, it grasps another form. That ego cannot stand without grasping some form or other. So it's constantly grasping form. But he says that he gives a key to getting rid of ego. Tedinal autem pidicum. If sought, it takes flight. That is the nature of ego. It seems to exist so long as we're aware of other things other than ourselves, we seem to be ego. But if we look within to see what is this ego, there's no such thing to be found. Ego is something that seems to exist only when we're looking away from ourselves. When we look back at ourselves, there's no such thing to be found. So that is the key to getting rid of ego. That is why in this sentence he says, Anmachintane tabira. Anmachintane means thought about oneself, or being attentive to oneself, turning our attention within. So Anmachintane tabira. Verachintane kalambaraku. To the extent that we turn our attention within, we don't give room to the rising of any other thought. And that is being atmanishtaparan. That is being firmly established in ourselves. And that is giving ourselves to God. So in this sentence, Bhagavan summarizes whole teachings, the whole of the path of self-investigation and self-surrender are all beautifully expressed in this sentence. And then there are 3 more sentences in this 13th paragraph of Nana. Because he says in this first sentence, he implies that we shouldn't give room to the rising of any other thoughts. But it seems to us that there's so many things we have to do. We've got to work to earn our living. We've got to pay the bills. We've got this responsibility, that responsibility. We've got responsibility to our family, to our friends. So many things we think it's necessary to think about. But Bhagavan says it's not necessary for us to think about anything, because he says in the next sentence, Isan peril evlo bharate potalam avlaveum avavahitu kolkira. Means however much burden, whatever amount of burden we place on God, he will bear it all. So even the burden of thinking, we can give to him. And there's another reason why thinking is not necessary. Bhagavan has explained in the note that Bhagavan wrote for his mother, he explained very beautifully. In the first sentence, he says, Abaraba prarabdha prakaram adakanavan angangirundu atuvipan. That means, according to the prarabdha, abaraba prarabdha prakaram, according to the prarabdha of each one, Adakanavan. Adakanavan is a beautiful term Bhagavan has coined. It means he who is for that. That means God who ordains the fruits of our karmas. Adakanavan. Angangirandu. Angangirandu means being there, being in every place. It implies being in the heart of each jiva. Angangirandu artavipan. So he will make us act. Us means the body, speech, and mind will be made to do whatever actions are necessary in order for us to experience our prarabdha. No other actions are necessary for us to do, because whatever other actions we do are not going to change anything, because what is, and Bhagavan made very clear, what is destined to happen will happen. That's what he says in the next 2 sentences of that note to his mother. Endrum naduvadadu, envichikandum nadavadu. That is, what will never happen, will not happen, however much effort we make. So we can try to change things, but only what is destined to happen is going to happen. And what is not destined to happen is not going to happen. Nadapadu, what will happen, entade sayinam, however much obstacle one makes, niladu, will not stop. So what is not going to happen will not happen however much effort we make. What is going to happen will not stop however much we try to obstruct it. So trying to make effort or obstruction, both are futile. what drives us to make effort to achieve what is not destined to experience, or to obstruct what we are destined to experience, is our likes and dislikes, our desires and attachments. So, but however much we act according to our desires and attachments, we aren't going to change anything. So actually making any effort to do anything other than what we are made to do according to prarabdha is futile. Everyone says, iduve tinnam, this is certain. Ahalin monamai irike nandru. Therefore, silently being, or being silent, is good. Monamai irike is another way of saying sumairapadu, just being, not rising as ego, not rising to like this or dislike that, or to be concerned about anything other than ourselves. So even if we give Bhagavan the burden of thinking for us, he will make our body, speech, and mind do whatever actions they are destined to do. We can happily leave even the burden of thinking to Bhagavan. So if we attend only to ourselves, we give ourselves entirely to Bhagavan, he will take care of everything else. We need not be concerned about anything. And then in the next sentence he says, Sakala Karyangalayum Oru Parameshwara Shakti Nadati Kol Kondiru Dirukira Padiyal. When one Parameshwara Shakti, one supreme ruling power of God, is driving or causing to happen all karyas. Karyas here means whatever needs to be done, whatever ought to be done, or whatever is to happen, everything is being made to happen by him. So when such is the case, namum adaku adangi adangi iramal, instead of yielding ourselves to that, ipadi avendum endru sada chintapadain. Why is it necessary for us to be, why should we always be thinking it's necessary to do this, it's necessary to do that? We don't have to think anything, because what this body, speech, and mind are destined to do, they will be made to do. So we don't even have to think about whether we should do this or we should do that. Even that thought of how we should act in this world, we can leave that to Bhagavan. Because if we surrender ourselves to him, we will be free of likes and dislikes, desires and attachments. And to the extent that we are free of desires and attachment, whatever actions are done by our body, speech, and mind are actions only according to prarabdha. No agamya is being done there. Agamya means the actions we do according to our will. No agamya is there, because the root of agamya is our desires and attachments. If we surrender ourselves to Bhagavan, don't rise to have any likes or dislikes, then only the actions according to prarabdha will be going on. So we don't, sometimes people say, how to know which actions are prarabdha, which actions are agamya? We don't need to know. If we avoid rising as ego by attending to ourselves, only the prarabdha actions can go on, because there'll be no ego there to have any will to do anything else. So that Atma Chintane, the word he began this paragraph, that is the key to the whole, that is the key to surrender. And of course, as I said earlier, the love, without the love, we won't attend only to ourselves, because unless we truly understand that Bhagavan is what is shining in us as I, we won't have the love to attend only to ourselves and give no room to the rising of any other thought. Then to illustrate what he said in the third sentence, in the fourth sentence, he gave a beautiful analogy. Puhei Vandi Sahala Barangalayum Tangi Kondu Povadu Terindum. Though we know that the train is carrying all the burdens, Adil Eri Kondu Pohum Nan, we who are traveling in it, namadua Syria muteye adil potu vitu sukamai iramal ade namadu talayil tangi kondu ein kashtapadavendum. When we know the train is carrying all the burdens, why should we who are traveling in that train, instead of being happily, that is remaining happy, sukamai ramal, instead of remaining happy by putting our luggage aside, putting our luggage on the train, ade namadu talayil tangi kondu ein kashtapadven. Why should we suffer carrying it on our head? So Bhagavan said, taking any burden on our head, that means taking even the burden of thinking about other things on our head causes what? Kashtapada, is causing suffering. Whereas if we put it aside, we can be happy. So the path of surrender is the path of happiness. Because to the extent that we leave all our burdens to Bhagavan by turning our attention within and lovingly attending to him in our heart, because he's ever shining there as I, to the extent that we do that, we can happily travel carefree through this life. All the suffering that we experience in our life is suffering that we are taking upon ourselves by carrying our little burden on our head. If we surrender completely to Bhagavan, there'll be no room for suffering, because there'll be no one there to suffer. When we attend only to Bhagavan, there'll be no rising of ego. The Bhagavan means Bhagavan who's shining in our heart as I. Ariyati tarajiva dahavari jigohel. Arivai rami paramatu maranachala Ramana. Arunachala Ramana is what is shining in our heart as Arivu, the pure awareness I, in the hearts of all jivas, from Hari downwards, from God from Hari to the smallest ant, in all jivas, Bhagavan is that which is shining as I, as pure awareness. So if we truly love Bhagavan, all we have to do is to turn our attention within, thereby give ourselves entirely to him. And that is what he means by putting our luggage aside and traveling happily. The alternative is to carry our luggage on our head and to suffer. So the choice is ours. Bhagavan says, do you want to be happy or do you want to suffer? If we're wise, we want to be happy. If we want to be happy, all we have to do is to follow Bhagavan's path. As he beautifully summarized in his first sentence, Anma Chintane Tavira, Vera Chintane Kalambaraku Satram Idum Kadamal, Apmanishta Paranai Irapade, Tanai Isanaku Alipadam. To many of us, this may seem to be, what Bhagavan is asking us to do here may seem to be an almost superhuman task, an impossible task. It seems difficult because of the strength of our desires and attachments. If we persevere in patiently following Bhagavan's path, trying, as he said, Tirumbiya Handane, Dinamaha Kankan, Teriyamandraneya Narachara. If we try persistently, dinam there literally means daily, but that's a figurative way of saying repeatedly, constantly. Tirambiyaham means turning within. Tanai dinamaha kankan, seeing oneself daily with the inner eye. If we choose so, terium, it will be known. That is what Arunachala taught to Bhagavan, and that's what Bhagavan taught to us. So if we patiently and persistently follow this path, our love for Bhagavan will increase. And to the extent our love for Bhagavan increases, our desires and attachments for other things will decrease. So this path, which at first seems to be very difficult, will become easier and easier and easier. It will, Bhagavan once said jokingly, everyone says it's so difficult to stop thinking, but however much effort I make, I'm not able to think a single thought. So if we follow Bhagavan's path, we will find eventually, but rather than turning within and surrendering ourselves to him being difficult, it will be difficult to rise and think anything else. It will become second nature, it will become first nature to us, just to be as we actually are, because that is what we always actually are. So Bhagavan's path is the most natural path, the most direct path, and the happiest path, the most carefree path. If it's the true sign of the true sign that we're truly following Bhagavan's path is the extent to which we're free of all cares and concerns and anxieties, to the extent that we are traveling happily without carrying our burden on our head. That is the path of surrender. That is the path of self-investigation. So, and that is Summayurupadu, that is just being, because the state in which we don't rise as ego, that is the state of just being. So long as we rise as ego, we are not in the state of just being.
Aruna.
Thank you, Michael, for that inspirational talk.
I hope it all came across clearly.
Yes, it was quite clear. So as you said, it's all Bhagavan's Chittam, and I'm so happy we were able to listen to you. And, it's a talk worthy of listening again and again. Thank you so much for joining us from Scotland.
Thank you. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to talk about Bhagavan again and again. That's what I love to do.
Thank you, Michael. So we'll go on to our next program, which is playing Ramana Sadguru, Upadesha Saram, and Arunachala Pancharatnam. And after that, there will be a talk by Dr. Sharada Natarajan on the same topic, followed by some song offerings. Ananta, over to you.
Drishyavalitam Chittavatma सज्जकं ह्यजत् सत्त्वभासिका चित्ववेतरा सप्तजायिते चित्तजायकम् ईशवीवयोर्वेषधीभिदा सत्स्वभावतो वस्तु देवदम् वेदहरणः स्वात्मदर्शनम् ईशदर्शनम् स्वात्मरूपणः आत्मसंस्थितिः स्वात्मदर्शनम् आत्मनिर्वजादात्मनिष्ठता ज्ञानवर्जिता ज्ञानहीनरीत् ज्ञानमस्ति किं ज्ञातुमन्तरम् किं स्वरूपमेत्यात्मदर्शने अव्यया भव पूर्णचित्सुखम् बन्धमुद्यति तं परं सुखम् विन्दति गति वस्तु दैविकः अहमपेतकम् निजविभानकम् महदिदं तपो रमणवागियम्
करुणापूर्णसुधाब्धे प्रबलितघनविश्वरूपकिरणावल्या अरुणाचल परमात्मन् अरुणो भवचित्तकञ्जसुविकासाय त्वय्यरुणाचल सर्वम् भूत्वा स्थित्वा प्रलीनमेतच्चित्रम् हृद्यहमित्यात्मतया नृत्यसि भोस्ते वदन्ति हृदयं नाम अहमिति कुत आयातीति अन्विष्यान्तः प्रविष्टयात्यमलधिया अवगम्य स्वं रूपम् शाम्यत्यरुणाचलत्वयि नदीवाब्धौ त्यक्त्वा विषयं बाह्यम् रुद्धप्राणेन रुद्धमनसान्तस्त्वाम् ध्यायन् पश्यति योगी दीधितिमरुणाचलत्वयि महीयन्ते त्वय्यर्पितमनसा त्वाम् पश्यन् सर्वं तवाकृतितया सततम् भजते अनन्यः प्रीत्या स जयत्यरुणाचलत्वयि सुखे मग्नः श्रीमद् रमण महर्षे दर्शनमरुणाचलस्य देवगिरा पञ्चकमार्यागीतौ रत्नं द्विदमोपनिषदं हि
பஞ்சபூதம் நிறைந்து நின்றவன் பஞ்சகோஷமதற்றவன் அஞ்சலி தீடும் அன்பர் துன்பம் ஒழிக்கும் ஞான விதாயகன்
முக்குண தடையற்றவன் முதலாய தேவனிரமயன் பக்குவத்தவர் வந்து நின்று பணிந்திடும் பத சேவையான்
ரமண சத்குரு ரமண சத்குரு ரமண சத்குரு ராயனே ரமண சத்குரு ரமண சத்குரு ரமண சத்குரு ராயனே
ரமண சத்குரு ரமண சத்குரு ரமண சத்குரு ராயனே ரமண சத்குரு ரமண சத்குரு ரமண சத்குரு ராயனே
ஆதி காரண காரியங்களில் சின்மய பூரணன் வாதியாமல மாயை தன்னை வரைத்து வீசிடும் மாரணன்
தேவர் யாவரும் வந்து நின்று துதித்திடும் பதவைபவன் காவலாகி மெய்ஞான நாட்டர சாகனின் வீடு காரணன்
ரமண சத்குரு ரமண சத்குரு ரமண சத்குரு ராயனே ரமண சத்குரு ரமண சத்குரு ரமண சத்குரு ராயனே
ரமண சத்குரு ரமண சத்குரு ரமண சத்குரு ராயனே ரமண சத்குரு ரமண சத்குரு ரமண சத்குரு ராயனே
வேதநாயகன் வேதபூஷணன் வேதமே உருவாயவன் காதலாய் பர வாழ்வினீர்களில் தெரிநின்று கழித்தவன்
துரியமே படிவாகி தூவெளி ஆடரங்கமதாகினோன் கரியதாய் ஜகமேழோடம் கலந்து நின்ற கலப்பிலா
ரமண சத்குரு ரமண சத்குரு ரமண சத்குரு ராயனே ரமண சத்குரு ரமண சத்குரு ரமண சத்குரு ராயனே
ரமண சத்குரு ரமண சத்குரு ரமண சத்குரு ராயனே ரமண சத்குரு ரமண சத்குரு ரமண சத்குரு ராயனே
சின்மய தருவிற்பழுத்திடும் தீங்கனி சுவையாகியோன் தன்மய பொருளாய் தனித்திடும் சச்சிதானந்தமாகினோன்
வேதமதற்றவன் அநாதி நிர்மல ஞான நாயகன் அன்பினில் வரு ஜோதியான்
ரமண சத்குரு ரமண சத்குரு ரமண சத்குரு ராயணே ரமண சத்குரு ரமண சத்குரு ரமண சத்குரு ராயணே
ரமண சத்குரு ரமண சத்குரு ரமண சத்குரு ராயணே ரமண சத்குரு ரமண சத்குரு ரமண சத்குரு ராயணே
சத்குண கடலான நற்குண சஜ்ஜன புகழ் நீதியான் அற்புத சுவை ஞானமாகினம் அசிபத குருவானவன்
பக்தியோடு பணிந்து நின்றிடும் பக்த கோடிய தங்களை முக்தி மெய்கரை காட்டி மூதறி உற்றிட வஜமிட்டவன்
ரமண சத்குரு ரமண சத்குரு ரமண சத்குரு ராயணே ரமண சத்குரு ரமண சத்குரு ரமண சத்குரு ராயணே
ரமண சத்குரு ரமண சத்குரு ரமண சத்குரு ராயணே ரமண சத்குரு ரமண சத்குரு ரமண சத்குரு ராயணே
அநாத செய்கைகளிக்கும் இன்றிய வஞ்சனை பொறிவாயில் விகாரை வீழ்ந்து விழிக்கும் எல்மன பேயை வாழென ஆடுவார்
அங்கமேறி அகங்கரித்திடும் ஆணவ படுபாவியை துங்க ஞானவாள் கொண்டு சாடுவின் துமணி சுடராகினி
ரமண சத்குரு ரமண சத்குரு ரமண சத்குரு ராயணே ரமண சத்குரு ரமண சத்குரு ரமண சத்குரு ராயணே
ரமண சத்குரு ரமண சத்குரு ரமண சத்குரு ராயணே ரமண சத்குரு ரமண சத்குரு ரமண சத்குரு ராயணே
வானுவம்சவினோதராமனு பங்கைய வேறு வாழ்வனும் மானும் சூலமணிந்த தேவனும் மாதவ குமரேசனும்
போற்றியன் மன கோயிலூற்றிடு புண்ணிய திருமேனியாய் போற்றினில் முகம் போற்றினில் மனம் போற்றினில் பதம் ஐயனே
ரமண சத்குரு ரமண சத்குரு ரமண சத்குரு ராயணே ரமண சத்குரு ரமண சத்குரு ரமண சத்குரு ராயணே
ரமண சத்குரு ரமண சத்குரு ரமண சத்குரு ராயணே ரமண சத்குரு ரமண சத்குரு ரமண சத்குரு
சுவையான உன்பதம் உச்சி வைத்திட வேண்டினே.
ரமண சத்குரு ரமண சத்குரு ரமண சத்குரு ராயனே. ரமண சத்குரு ரமண சத்குரு ரமண சத்குரு ராயனே. ரமண சத்குரு ரமண சத்குரு ரமண சத்குரு ராயனே.
ரமண சத்குரு ரமண சத்குரு ரமண சத்குரு ராயனே.
Next part, I would like to introduce Dr. Sharada Natarajan. I'm fortunate to call her Sharada Akka. I've practically grown up with her. She is the daughter of Shri A.R. Natarajan and Srimati Sulochana Natarajan, who both started the Ramana Maharshi Center for Learning in Bangalore. She is now the president of the center and is an editor of a monthly magazine, The Ramana Way, which is also available as an online publication. The center also has a unique part with the cultural programs and a YouTube channel, which enables children and other devotees to enjoy Bhagavan's life and teachings in a new way. And I remember Kanakammal calling Sharadaka's family Kotta Adimaihal, which means in Tamil, bonded laborers to Bhagavan. With that, I would like to invite Sharadaka, Dr. Sharada Natarajan, to deliver her talk today.
Ramana, prostrations to Ramana, who shines in the hearts of all as the self. It's a great joy to be speaking about Bhagavan, to be thinking about Bhagavan, and to be dwelling on the words of Bhagavan. Suga kadal ponga, sollunar vadanga, summa porundidam arunachala. For the sea of bliss to overflow, for talk and thought to end their show, for the sea of bliss to overflow, talk and thought to end their show, just be there in silence, Arunachala. Solladu solini sollaranil என்று சும்மா இருந்தாய் அருணாச்சலா, சும்மா இருந்தாய் அருணாச்சலா. Without words you taught to stay still with no thought. Without words you taught to stay still with no thought, being in silence, Arunachala. Chombiyai summa sugamundurangidil solverengati Arunachala. Solverengati Arunachala. Quietly sleeping in bliss. Quietly sleeping in bliss, idling. Other than this, tell me, what heaven is there, Arunachala? This is the heaven, this Summa is the heaven that we are all longing for. But actually, Bhagavan is telling us repeatedly that it's our natural state. We don't have to long for it. Summa is our natural state. Summa iru, he is telling us, because we have moved away from this natural state. Arunachala has been declaring this, the glory of the self, from times immemorial. Jnana tapodanare vavendradekkum malai annamalai. So it's been calling out, saying, look at me and understand the glory of this state. Sadhu Swami also sings, Amma Arunachalattai parai summa irukkude அதுபோல் அமர்ந்துள்ள செய்யாதிருக்க ஆசை பெருக்குதே. Seeing Arunachala just like that, remaining still, fills our hearts with a longing for that state which Bhagavan talks of in Aksharamana Malai, that state of idling in bliss, beyond which there is no heaven. However, this, as I said, it's become an ideal for us because somewhere we have lost touch with this, our own true nature. Even something as natural as breathing has become unnatural to us. So we have to relearn it. We have to get back to it. And that's why Arunachala decided that simply remaining as a hill, simply remaining in that form, which Muruganar Swami says, even the great gods could not comprehend. Iruvaran deiva periyaral ariya, ippuru edarkena talli. Varghala manidam padivame kondu. So Arunachala decided to take the human form of Bhagavan. Jnana malayam nadandu varave kanden, says Sadhu. I saw the hill coming walking. And how does Bhagavan come to us in that beautiful, glorious form? He comes to teach us how to get back to this Summa state, which is our natural state, but which we have for some reason lost. And how does he teach us? He teaches us through his own life. And he teaches us through his works, through his upadesham, through his teaching, through words. Because even that life which is silent, completely silent, which is summa at every moment, we may not comprehend. I used to write to Vishwanatha Swami about my doubts about self-inquiry at that time when I was 17, 18 years old. And sometimes he would reply by way of a letter. Sometimes, if it so happened that I visited ashram along with my parents, soon after that, he would smilingly say, Neril Badil, I'll tell you right in person. Come to my room, he would say. And then I would go to the room and first he would say, let us meditate for some time. You know, Evelyn from Arunachala Ashrama, she was here a few minutes back. She also had some questions and we sat and meditated. And she said, Swami, all my doubts are cleared. He would say this with a naughty twinkle in his eye. And I would sit down for meditation, but my mind would be agitating. Swami, I am not in that state of understanding through meditation. I want you to explain in words. This my mind would be saying even as I was trying to meditate. And after the meditation, Swami would sweetly explain to me. So Bhagavan has put this to us explicitly. He has shown us the path. And what is the path? What is he outlined as a path for us? It is Sharanagati. It is surrender. Surrender, surrender, surrender. Surrender everything and then the Summa remains. Don't hold on to anything and the Summa remains. Bhagavan showed us the acme of surrender, the peak, we can say, when as a boy of 16, he was overcome with the fear of death. But he decided to surrender to it. He did not decide to escape it. He did not decide to evade it in any way, rather to surrender. This body is dying, finished. He surrendered to the death. He lay down as if he was dead. He held his breath as if he was dead. and rigor mortis had come in. And he said, nothing of this remains anymore. And what remains then? And the self revealed itself. So he says, surrender everything, accept in totality, he shows us, by accepting death itself. And then the command of Arunachala. He accepted the command of Arunachala and came to Arunachala on the 1st of September. If we see what Bhagavan did on that day, there is no higher example of surrender than what Bhagavan showed us on that day. After coming out from the temple, after embracing Arunachala and saying, Father, I have come, and coming to Ayyankulam, having his head shaven, he threw away everything, not a single thought, not on holding on even to the food stuff which he had with him. He could have kept it for the next meal, but no, total, absolute surrender. And this is what he taught. Every moment of his life, was absolute surrender to Arunachala. This is the way, he said. And this is the way he taught to Mother also. All along, when Mother Aragamma came to take him back home, when she pleaded with him, he said, Amma, Maunamai irukkai nandu. Remain in silence. Rest of it, whatever the events are, just allow them to be surrender. Because the great God, he himself is remaining everywhere. Aangang irundhu aattuvikkan. Can we know better than him? Why should we make the mind turbulent about the happenings? And Mother went back. She didn't come back again for so many years. 1898, she came back only in 1914. And then he took care of her. He prayed to Arunachala and asked Arunachala to cure her fever. And again, if we say, Bhagavan, like your surrender, we can't surrender, Bhagavan. We don't have that fullness of faith. Even the faith which Mother had, I do not know whether I can wait for 13 years like that in silence if you ask me to do it. Then Bhagavan says, all right, I will show you a path. I will show you, I will delineate the path for you. You know what is preventing you from surrendering? It is the thought that you are an entity. You are a limited entity. So when Gambiram Sheshayar asks him, what is the way to get rid of misery permanently? He says, if you have a body, it is bound to be misery. But this body is not true. It is only jada. And he has said this again and again, Padesha Saram, Ullajanarpadu, Vigrahendriya Pranadhitamaha, Nahamekasat Jadam. Jadamudal Nan Yenna. So don't think of this body as the truth. Set it aside as a corpse. He tells Gambiram Sheshayar. Once the body is not there, what remains to hold on to? It is total Sharanagati. But even that seems to be a very high task. So he makes it even simpler when he's telling Shiva Prakasham Pillai, 1901, 1902. He says, see, I will explain to you, this body is only in your mind. It is only a thought. And you're not able to recognize this thought because it is clouded by all other thoughts. And you are running away with various thoughts. Ododum nenjam oyado. Sadhguru Swami sings, will not this mind just stop? It's running. And Bhagavan says, don't run with the running mind. Pull back. When thoughts arise, recognize all these experiences are mere thoughts. They are thoughts. They are not the I. They are all coming and going like a passing film. So whenever a thought arises, surrender it. Surrender it by asking, for whom is this thought? Don't hold on to the thought. Don't grasp the thought. Surrender it. Let it go. Let it go by asking, for whom is the thought? And the answer will come to you. For me, I. Then don't hold on to this I thought either. Ask, who am I? Who am I? And ask in a total spirit of surrender. Ask without holding on to any preconceived notions. Just ask, who am I? And then what will happen? There's no answer. And I will have to merge into its source because it has no answer. Merge into the source. The same thing Bhagavan tells Muni again in 1907. The same path, the same answer. Muni, at the end of so much of tapasya, crores of japa, but the Chumma is evading me, O Bhagavan. He says and falls at his feet and bathes his feet with his tears. Bhagavan, in great compassion, for the first time, speaks and tells him, find out from where the I thought arises and merge at its source. Merge. Surrender into the source. Surrender the I thought to its source. If you're doing the mantra, merge the mantra into the source. And abide there. Abide there. That is tapas. That is summa. Surrender into the source. And Bhagavan gave this path to everyone without an exception. It could be monkeys sitting in front of him in Virupaksha cave. And if one monkey got restless, Bhagavan would say, enna rajyam kolla poradhu? Which kingdom are you going to lose? So surrender everything. Don't worry, you have nothing to lose by surrendering. Other than this, what heaven is there? He himself has asked. And there is this same path, even whether it's the monkeys or it's Jackie the dog. If Jackie is distracted by another dog barking out there, Bhagavan says, Jackie, you're distracted because you are paying attention to that. Let go. You turn within. And it is reported that Jackie immediately closed his eyes and turned within. So it's the same. Why? Why does Bhagavan give us a method for getting back to the self, which is our nature? By practicing something, aren't we distancing it? No, because we have already distanced it. So what does this method do? The method actually exhausts our effort. It allows us to feel that I'm doing something. Because I must do something. I cannot be without doing. That seems to have become my second nature. So then I have to do something. And Bhagavan says, okay, keep on doing and exhaust yourself. Like he allowed the scholar who was describing so many things which happened. I did this there, I learned this there, and for 4 days it seems the scholar was speaking about all his experiences. And Bhagavan was silent. At the end of the 4th day, the scholar also had finished saying whatever he had to say. Then Bhagavan, with a smile, turned to Puja Swami and said, Panditaram, Nambla Pola Ai. He has become silent also, nothing further. So he wants us to exhaust our effort and reach the point where, as Muruganatha Swami says, I can't do anything. I can't get back to you. I can't grasp you with my thought. I can't grasp you with my mind. So I must surrender. I must fall silent. There is no other way. என்னாலே யாதொன்றும் இயலாது என்று உன்னிடத்தே என் கடமை எல்லாம் ஏற்பித்தேன். And at that time, what happens? Swami says, this is a simple way Bhagavan is giving us. Actually, we don't realize how simple a way, says Muruganatha Swami. He has taken the entirety of the Vedas and Agamas. Vedagama jnana vennai unava. He's churned the Vedas and the Agamas and he has taken out the butter and the vennai. He has taken out, and what is he doing? He's not offering it to us merely on a plate. Vedagama jnana vennai unava. Udari, he's a Udari, is such a spendthrift. He'll just give away everything. And why? because of his love. Udari uvandhanai. Great love. He's feeding me how? Ootinane. As a mother feeds her child. You know, the child is distracted, says, I don't want, but the mother is the ootinal in the word Tamil. Ootina. Amma ootina is bliss. She is feeding us that. Bhagavan says, actually, even when we don't realize, mother is feeding us the bliss of the self. The self as mother, the guru within is feeding us the bliss of the self, because that is the purpose for which he has come. That is the purpose for which he has borne the cross of the body, even for 54 years after the enlightenment. If we take it that the enlightenment actually happened to him, actually the entire Leela, from his birth in Tiruchuri, the Mahasamadhi, and the entire living with that body from moment to moment, showing us the glory of abidance. Why? Because this is for you. Ida, Unakida, Adalat Shivatanubhuti, Unak Ida, says Gurudinath Swami is giving it to us. And what happens when we recognize this? Does something extraordinary happen? No, says what happens is Sugame Alvana Swarupa Nilai Vigave Tagavaga Vilangavadal. It is just very natural. Igame Parama. This earth then becomes heaven. Iyalsiridayat. The heart. What happens? What do we experience in the heart? Ahame Ahamaga Amaindaduve. The self remains as the self. Ahame Ahamaga Amaindaduve. But Aham now Udalaha Amaindirukku. It is thinking there is a body, there is a whole manifestation. It's good and bad. And Bhagavan says, whether you call it inquiry, whether you call it surrender, it is surrender, it is letting go, it is sharanagati, it is being ready to drop everything at his feet. And I will conclude with a small incident which has always moved me. An incident of sharanagati leading to that silence of Sumayil. This incident is narrated by Krishna Bhikshu. He says one evening they were sitting outside Bhagavan's old hall near the well, and there were a few people gathered there, and one person who was a newcomer. They had not seen him before. After a little while, he seemed to be very agitated, and he told Bhagavan, Bhagavan, please save me. And he was weeping inconsolably. He said, I am a sinner. I am such a sinner. Nobody in the world can imagine the degree of the sins which I have committed. So save me, Bhagavan. I have no hope. And Krishna Bhikshu says, to everyone's surprise, Bhagavan turned and told him, he sat up straight and told him, okay, if I'm going to save you, what are you going to give me in return? This was shocking because Bhagavan has never asked anyone for anything. The man said, what is there with me for me to give anything? Ask Bhagavan. Bhagavan said, give me the fruits of all the merits, of all your punya, give me the fruits. The man was feeling amused. He said, Bhagavan, I have not done anything good in my life, but it's fine. If by chance, if without my knowledge, if I've done something good, it's all yours, the fruits of all that is yours. And Bhagavan said, fine, you don't have anything good left in you now, right? No, Bhagavan. You have given everything good to me, right? Yes, I've given everything good to you. Now, says Bhagavan, give me the fruits of all your sins, which you call your sins, give back to me. The man was petrified. He said, Bhagavan, you don't know what you're asking for. It's unimaginable what naraka one has to go through on account of sins. Bhagavan says, I'm asking. If you want me to save you, are you going to give it or are you not going to give it? And Krishna Bhikshu says, this tussle between them went on for some time. The man says, how can I give it? He was shivering. And Bhagavan says, okay, if you're not giving, then Your path is your own. If you're not giving it to me, you're on your own. And finally the man said, I don't have any recourse other than you, Bhagavan. Yes, I will give you the results of all my sins. Then Bhagavan, with great love, told him, now there is no good in you. There is no bad in you. Nothing is left. Just be. Just be as you are. Krishna Bhikshu says, the silence, supreme silence, reigned. There is nothing to distinguish, says Bhagavan, as good and bad. He says, O Arunachala, when you are everything, Kurayum Gunamum Ni Allah, there is there anything to distinguish as good and bad. Yenne Ivantrai. So, by that grace, which is ever shining within us, by that grace, which has become embodied as the dearest of dears, Ramana, in order to draw us back to itself, which knows its job very, very well. Therefore, Satsangam Swami says, once we recognize that, there's nothing further for us to do. Unnai vida unmel kavalai ulla peruman Ramanan nandro munnaridanai unarnu vittal mudindadella sadhanayum. Unnai vida unmel kavalai ulla peruman Ramanan nandro. Om Namo Bhagavate Shri Ramana.
Thank you, Sharadaka, for that moving, inspiring talk. You just finished a satsang on Mahapuja in Bangalore, and you joined us. Really appreciate your time. And again, another talk which we like to listen again and again. I'm thankful for the recording. So the next part of the program is a series of songs. 3 songs. First one will be offered by Ranjani Ramanan, Yenna Vendum, Yenna Vendam, that is Sadhuom's song. Then Ramana Balachandran from Thiruvannamalai will sing Ayye Ati Sulabam, Bhagavan's, followed by Aditi Ayer's song. She also joins from Thiruvannamalai. Aham Uruvadarivayo, that is also Sri Sadhuvam Swami's song, followed by Sharanagati by Srimati Susila Ramanan from Thiruvannamalai. The Aarti will consist of Mangalashtakam first, and last verse will be offered by Maitreyi, Nakarmana by our own Mohan Ramaswamy, and Varga Swayam Prakasham by Nitya Ramanan. So let's go on to Ranjani now.
Om Namo Bhagavate Sri Ramanaya. Yenna வேண்டும் என்ன வேண்டாம் என்பதை எல்லாம் என்னை விட நன்கறிந்தோன் என் பெருமானே. தன்னை வேண்டும் அன்பர் தந்தை தாயுமானானே. பின்னர் யார் பின் வேக வேண்டும் பிள்ளையாம் நானே. எனக்கென்ன வேண்டும் என்ன வேண்டாம் என்பதை எல்லாம் என்னை விட நன்கறிந்தோன் என் பெருமானே. நான் நினைத்த தீவதென்றால் நியாயமாகுமா? ஸ்ரீரமணன் ஈச்சை அன்றி ஏதும் நல்லதாகுமா? தானினைத்த தீவன் கேட்போன் தாசனாகுமாம். சர்வமும் அறிந்தோன் செய்கை தப்புமாகுமா? எனக்கென்ன வேண்டும் என்ன வேண்டாம் என்பதை எல்லாம் என்னை விட நன்கறிந்தோன் என் பெருமானே. என்று நானென் எண்ண ஒன்றி அற்ற வேண்டுமோ? அன்றதங்கே ஆக்குவான் கேட்டாக வேண்டுமோ? நன்றேயன்றி தீமை வந்திங் என்னை தீண்டுமோ? ஸ்ரீரமணன் அன்றி வேறெனக்கென்னாக வேண்டுமோ? எனக்கென்ன வேண்டும் என்ன வேண்டாம் என்பதை எல்லாம் என்னை விட நன்கறிந்தோன் என் பெருமானே. என் பெருமானே. என் பெருமானே.
Go ahead, Ramana.
अय्ये अतिसुलभम् आत्मविद्यय्ये अतिसुलभम् अय्ये अतिसुलभम् आत्मविद्यय्ये अतिसुलभम् நொய்யாத்தமக்கு கையாமலக கனி பொய்யாயொழிய மிகு மெய்யாயுள்ளதான் மாயே அதிசுலபம் ஆன்மவித்தையே அதிசுலபம் பொய்யாத்தமக்கு முழ கையாமலக கனி பொய்யாயொழிய மிகு மெய்யாயுள தான்மாயே அதிசுலபம் ஆன்மவித்தையே அதிசுலபம் நீயாய் நிரந்தரம் தானையாதிருந்திடம் பொய்யாமுடம்புலக மெய்யாய் முளத்தெழும்பொய் மையார் நினைவனு முய்யாதொடுக்கிடவே மெய்யார் இதயவேடி வெய்யோன் சுயமான்மா விளங்குமே இருளடங்குமே இடரொடுங்குமே இன்பம் பொங்குமே மெய்யாயிரந்தரம் தானையாதிருந்திடவும் பொய்யாமுடம்புலக மெய்யாய் முளைத்தெழும் பொய்மையாய் நினைனும் முய்யாதொடுக்கிடவே மெய்யார் இதயவேடி வெய்யோன் சுயமான்மா விளங்குமே இருளடங்குமே இடரொடுங்குமே இன்பம் பொங்குமே ஐயே அதிசுலபம் ஆன்மவித்தை ஐயே அதிசுலபம் ஊனாருடல் இதுவே நானாம் எனும் நினைவே நானா நினைவுகள் சேரோ நாரெனும் மதன நானாரிடமேதன்குட்போனார் நினைவுகள் போய் நான் என கூகையுள் தானாய் திகழும் ஆன்ம ஞானமே இதுவே மோனமே ஏகவானமே இன்பஸ்தானமே ஐயே அதிசுலபம் ஆன்மவித்தை ஐயே அதிசுலபம் தன்னை அறிதலின்றி பின்னை எதறிகில தன்னை அறிந்திடீர் பின் என்னை உளதறிய பின்ன உயிர்களில் அபின்ன விளக்கெனும தன்னை தனில் உணர மின்னும் தனுள் ஆன்ம பிரகாசமே அருள் விலாசமே அகவிநாசமே இன்ப விகாசமே ஐயே அதிசுலபம் ஆன்மவித்தை ஐயே அதிசுலபம் கம்மாதி கட்டவள் விழ ஜென்மாதி நஷ்டமிழ எம்மார்கமதனினும் இம்மார்கமி கெளிது சும்மானதனுவின் கண்மாதி சிறின்றி சும்மா அமர்ந்து இருக்க அம்மாகத்தில் ஆன்ம ஜோதியே நிதானுபூதியே இறது பீதியே இன்பம் போதியே ஐயே அதிசுலபம் ஆன்மவித்தை ஐயே அதிசுலபம் விண்ணாதிய விண்ணாதிய விளக்கும் கண்ணாதிய பொறிக்கும் கண்ணா மனக்கணுக்கும் கண்ணை மனவிழுக்கும் விண்ணை ஒரு பொருள் வேறென்னபடி உள்ளாடுல தொழிலும் அண்ணாமலை என் ஆன்மா காணுமே அருளும் வேணுமே அன்பு போணுமே இன்பு தோணுமே ஐயே அதிசுலபம் ஆன்மவித்தை ஐயே அதிசுலபம் ஐயே அதிசுலபம் ஆன்மவித்தை ஐயே அதிசுலபம்
Go ahead, Aditi.
முருகுவது அறியாயோ முருகுவது அறியாயோ முருகுவது அறியாயோ அருணாச்சல ரமண நமோ நமவென்றே உருகுவது அறியாயோ அருணாச்சல ரமண நமோ நமவென்றே உருகுவது அறியாயோ முகலென வந்தடி போற்றிய என்னுளம் முகலென வந்தடி போற்றிய என்னுளம் பூரண விகசித பூவன மலரவே முகலென வந்தடி போற்றிய என்னுளம் பூரண விகசித பூவன மலரவே முருகுவது அறியாயோ அருணாச்சல ரமண நமோ நமவென்றே உருகுவது அறியாயோ இஹபர நினைவில்லாதிரை நிலையை திடவும் இஹபர நினைவில்லாதிரை நிலையை திடவும் எனது நானேனும் மூல எழுச்சி அழிந்திடவும் இஹபர நினைவில்லாதிரை நிலையை திடவும் எனது நானேனும் மூல எழுச்சி அழிந்திடவும் அகமகம் என்று இதயத்தாடும் முனை தொடவும் அகமகம் என்று இதயத்தாடும் முனை தொடவும் அன்போடு எழுந்தருளியே வருவாய் அகமகம் என்று இதயத்தாடும் முனை தொடவும் அன்போடு எழுந்தருளியே வருவாயன் அகமுருகுவது அறியாயோ அருணாச்சல ரமண நமோ நமவென்றே உருகுவது அறியாயோ
Thank you, Ramana and Aditi. Mommy, you have to unmute yourself. Mommy, unmute பண்ணணும். Unmute. Yeah. Yeah. Mommy, start பண்ணுங்க.
சரணாகதி சரணா ஆகதி பரநான் சரணா ஆகதி பரநா சரணா ஆகதி இனி புக துணை தான் ஏது நீ புகழாய் இனி புக துணைதான் ஏது நீ புகழாய் சரணா ஆகதி ஸ்மரணாத்யதி பல அருணாச்சல நீரை ரமணா ஸ்மரணாத்யதி பல அருணாச்சல நீரை ரமணா கருணா வருணா ஸ்ரீ ரமணா கருணா வருணா சரணா ஆகதி தருணம் ஏது அன்றோ ஒன் கருணை நோக்கவே தருணம் ஏது அன்றோ உன் கருணை நோக்கவே கால அரணமாகிடில் ஆயம் செய்வேன் கால அரணமாகிடில் ஆயம் செய்வேன் உன்பை நீ என்பை அளிக்க என் அன்பா உலக துன்பை நீக்கி என்பை அளிக்க என் அன்பா என்னம் பராமுகம் என்னான் தாளாதைய சிவேதிய என்னம் பராமுகம் என்னான் தாளாதைய ஸ்ரீரமண சரணா கதி பரணா சரணா गति
Thank you, Mommy. Maitri.
Are you ready, Aruna? Tell me just.
Yeah.
मङ्गलं मावर्तपुरवासदम्पति सुन्दरी सुन्दरेशात्मजाय मङ्गलं वर पराशरगोत्रजायते प्रमादिसुधनुषि पुनर्वसुभवाय जय मङ्गलं नित्यशुभमङ्गलम् सर्वशक्तियुताय सर्वसमभावाय सर्वलोकैकहित साधकाय साधु सद्गुरुवर्य रमणाय भगवते पादसेवक रामपावनाय जय मङ्गलं नित्यशुभमङ्गलम् जय मङ्गलं नित्यशुभमङ्गलम् जय मङ्गलं नित्यशुभमङ्गलम्
Mohan.
न कर्मणा न प्रजया धनेन त्यागेनैके अमृतत्वमानशुः परेण नाकं निहितं गुहायां विभ्राजते तज्जतयो विशन्ति वेदान्तविज्ञानसुनिधिस्सार्थ संन्यासयोगाद्यतयः शुद्धसत्त्वाः ते ब्रह्मलोके तु परान्तकाले परामृता परिमुच्यन्ति सर्वे दर्वं विपापं परमेष्मभूतं यत्पुण्डरीकं पुरमध्यः सर्गस्थं तत्रापि दर्भं गगनं विशोकस्तस्मिन् यदन्तस्तुपासितव्यम् यो वेदादौ स्वरप्रोक्तो वेदान्ते च प्रतिष्ठितः तस्य प्रकृतिलीनस्य यः परः स महेश्वरः।
Nitya.
Namo Bhagavate Sri Ramanaya. Varga Swayam Prakasham by Suddhananda Bharati. Varga Swayam Prakasham Varga Vargave Shurga Suddhatma Shakti Shurga Shurgave Varga Swayam Prakasham Varga Vargave Shurga Suddhatma Shakti Shurga Shurgave ஏழுலகும் ஜீவன் முக்தி இன்பம் பொங்கவே ஏழுலகும் ஜீவன் முக்தி இன்பம் பொங்கவே இதயமாகும் இறைவனாகி எல்லாம் ஓங்கவே இதயமாகும் இறைவனாகி எல்லாம் ஓங்கவே பாழ்மனத்தகந்தை வாழ்வு பாழ்பட்டொழியவே பாழ்மனத்தகந்தை வாழ்வு பாழ்பட்டொழியவே பரமசச்சிதானந்தாத்ம பால் பொழியவே பரமசச்சிதானந்தாத்ம பால் பொழியவே வாழ்க ஸ்வயம் பிரகாசம் வாழ்க வாழ்கவே சூழ்க சுத்தாத்ம சக்தி சூழ்க சூழ்கவே தட்டாத நித்ய ஜீவ தத்துவமோங்கவே தட்டித்தாத நித்ய ஜீவ தத்துவமோங்கவே அன்மயத்தில் சின்மயம் தழைத்திறங்கவே அன்மயத்தில் சின்மயம் தழைத்திறங்கவே எட்டு திக்கும் ஹம்ச சோகம் எதிரொலிக்கவே எட்டு திக்கும் ஹம்ச சோகம் எதிரொலிக்கவே எல்லாம் பிரம்மம் என்னும் உண்மை இறைவகிக்கவே எல்லாம் பிரம்மம் என்னும் உண்மை இறைவகிக்கவே வாழ்க ஸ்வயம் பிரகாசம் வாழ்க வாழ்கவே சூழ்க சுதாத்ம சக்தி சூழ்க சூழ்கவே வாழ்க ஸ்வயம் பிரகாசம் வாழ்க வாழ்கவே சூழ்க சுதாத்ம சக்தி சூழ்க சூழ்கவே சூழ்க சூழ்கவே சூழ்க சூழ்கவே